Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on this rainy Sunday afternoon. Today we're going to go over Jeffrey bought a new car. Yay! So he ended up selling his Supra back to Grandpa, and then took that money and bought this car, and then bought a whole ton of parts, and we're gonna get this car going. This is a 1978 Camaro Z28. Hood, we pulled the hood off. Body is okay. It's got some rusty fenders. It's got these nice multi-lug slotted wheels that are missing lug nuts everywhere. It has a 350 with headers. We actually have already did plugs, wires, cap, rotor. Gave it a little tune-up. He did order a radiator, an aluminum radiator, and an electric fan. And oh, there's Olive. Come here, sweet girl. Olive. Good girl. Come on, let's go. Go in the house. Let's take Olive in the house. Jeffrey carrying parts. Come on, Olive. 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 Come on. Don't you just love when your dogs listen? Olive. Come here. Let's go. Let's go inside. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. Come here. Good girl. Okay. I gotta chase down this dog. Okay. Continuing. Jeffrey's double checking to make sure he ordered the right radiator. He ordered an aluminum radiator with electric fans. But we'll keep going over this. So yeah. 14-inch tires. I don't know how long or how old those tires are, but he ordered some fancy new 17s and some new tires. Windshield is rough. We got to get one of those. It's got some dings here and some dings down here. The back end is a little soggy, the springs. It's got air shocks on it. We haven't put any air in there to see if they actually work. The back deck is a little fried. It only has one speaker. Back in the day I had a 79 Camaro and it had two speakers. This was new. I had to figure out what that was. That is a rear defrost. There's actually a little blower motor in there, and you turn the switch on the dash, and then it blows out air and defrosts your rear windshield. So that's kind of cool. Taillights are a little busted uppy. It's got some surface rust. This tire keeps going flat. I don't know if you can see it on the video. Probably not, but it's got, yeah, a little bit. Hail damage. And oh, here's the roof. We'll see if we can see it on the roof. Hail damage. Door handle's busted. It's a common thing with this style of door handle. I had a couple cars with that broke, and they're pretty easy to fix. But both fenders are rusty on the front. This one's got a whammy right there. It's missing that headlight trim. But overall, for the most part, it's a pretty solid car. It actually runs and drives. We've put 3 whole miles on it. Drove it up the road and back. Shifts through the gears. The clutch works. He has already pulled out the interior. Let me. The door pins in this are bad, and everything's wet. Oh, there. So, like a good old GM vehicle, you can see that this door moves. But he pulled out the carpet, center console. The dash is a little warped up there, but it's got real gauges, attack, other gauges. It's not an AC car. The headliner was coming down, so we just pulled that fabric off. And the floor on this side is not too bad. It's pretty solid. Under here, this is the feet section for the back passengers. You can see right through the floor. The back seat portion, those were missing. So if anybody has any of those in stock laying around, willing to get rid of them, I wouldn't say no. We're gonna keep an eye out for them. This is the passenger side. There's the floor, or what's left of the floor. This goes all the way. This is pretty rough. I'm guessing this car was sitting on a slope, and when it filled with water because of bad weather stripping, the water pooled up right there and just sat. And then this is the floor on the passenger side in the back. Not too bad. It's got a little hole right there. But yeah, that's the worst part. Although it gives you a good inspection port for the headers. You can see the header right there. And just, you know, move this little flap out of the way. Yep, that looks good. That looks good. Door pins on this door are a little soggy also. You gotta hold it up to get it to shut. But today the plan is replace the radiator. Did you measure it?
Yeah, it's like 30 and a half.
Okay.
This one's about 31.
Okay. So again, all these parts were ordered off of Amazon, and we'll see if we can show some part numbers or anything like that. But yeah, we did this, the plugs and wires, got those new, cap and rotor new.
Tried to make it look good.
The trunk, there's no door key, so they drilled the trunk keyhole out, so we popped that open. That actually looks pretty solid. There's a couple little tiny spots in there, so we'll do some work here and show you guys what we got going on. The hose, so just lift. Boom. Radiator is out. And I don't know if you can see, I need to bring a flashlight. Down in there? Nope, probably not. It's nice and crusty and corroded. But well, we got 2 new radiator hoses. We'll get that one pulled off. Clean all that rust manufacturing out of there. Clean that out. And that new radiator comes with a shroud and electric fan, so this will come off, and then we'll have hopefully a little bit of room in there, space. But yeah, this she's a little dirty. I don't know if Jeffrey did that or if it was like that before. Made this an oval shape.
Where? Right there?
This?
Oh, that's probably me.
Oh. But she's alright, but yeah, like I said, it's hard to see in there. But she's pretty corroded and crusty in there, so here's this new one. We'll get this guy. Ooh, she's pretty. Probably hardware. Packing material. Come on. Alright, so yeah, she looks nice and new and pretty and aluminum, and it's got the fans on it. and the shroud all built in for all those horsepowers. These are probably the electrical connectors and relays that they're supposed to come with. So we'll get that set in place and start getting stuff wired up and plugged in. A couple other things we have. We have an Edelbrock aluminum intake, and then we have a brand new Chinesium Quadrajet. Nothing that we bought, it just came with the vehicle that we bought. It was in there with it, so I think that will probably maybe be better than the old one that's on there, because it needs a little work. So right now he's pulling off the alternator bracket so we can get the intake off, and then let's see, I'll show you. I don't know, is the intakes in there? And then we got this fancy off of Amazon, I'm assuming, Quadrajet knockoff that should work. This one has an electric choke, and there was something different. Oh, I guess that, I can't remember actually what this has, but there was something different. Linkages all line up though. We'll have to do a vacuum port in the back right there for where the brakes, power brakes line up. But that, and then here it is. We got this intake. Like I said, we didn't buy it. It came with a vehicle we bought. So we're going to throw that on there and hopefully it runs better and runs gooder and looks gooder and has all the horsepowers. So, but yeah, he's pulling that off right now, and we'll get this fan out of the way, and that looks pretty good. It's just all full of mud. It's not rusty or anything. Excuse me, goodness. We're gonna have to get a new thermostat housing. Oh, don't dump that down the carburetor. Okay. Set that right there. So yeah, there's the old rusty crusty Quadrajet that's on there. It's got surface rust on the flaps, and it works. The car runs, like I said, but throw on a new one just to see. We pulled off some vacuum lines and whatnot. We'll get some of this taken apart and go from there. Okay, so we have a new distributor in a box. Came with a car that we bought. Thought, sure, why not just throw in the new distributor and have a new all that stuff too. Normally, you take out the little nut, the clamp comes out, you lift it out. This one, for some reason, we have a wrench on right there. While he pushes and pulls, I've got this trying to do a little wiggle wiggle. You can see, maybe you can see down there, it has only come up probably 2 millimeters. I don't know what the deal is, but I've never had a distributor come out this difficult. So we are pushing and pulling and struggling and tugging, and hey, there's the hood hinge. Can't see anything, can you? There, let's try that. Alright. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. You just watch us. Alright. Start pulling and pushing and pushing and pulling. My glasses are fogging up. It is, yeah, slowly, slowly, slowly. Okay.
This is hard.
Okay. You wiggle, I'll push and pull. There. Sorry. Oh. Oh no. I dropped my flashlight.
My shoe.
Hey, don't scratch the paint.
Oh no. My other shoe.
There's a lot of dog hair.
Where'd I put it? Right here?
Yeah, kind of like I was putting right here.
Or the pink joint?
No, like putting it on this. Yeah. And hold on. Come back right there. Oh, holy moly.
See, isn't it fun?
Yeah. I slipped. Let's see. Get on there. Is this some super secret high performance, low performance smog, anti-smog something something Ow.
I bet you could pull it out now.
Oh. Yay!
Okay, so what were we supposed to pay attention to?
We did it! Yeah. Well, you gotta.
I forgot I was aiming it at your feet.
So, we got it. I'm wondering if something down here wasn't stuck. in the casting, and we just had to basically cut through. But we got her. You can see the shiny spots on those teeth. They don't look too bad. They don't look like they're wearing down too much. So yeah, we'll get the new one and hopefully drop her in there easier than this. And we won't have to start this car on fire. All right. Set that right there. The new distributor came with some fancy new red spark plug wires, 8.5 millimeter, fancy red cap, and a fancy red rotor. Let me actually, we can't put this in yet. We're putting an intake on. We got to take the intake the rest of the way off.
How do I pause this?
And these guys. So we got the little tube of silicone that came with the gaskets, and what we're going to do is put a healthy goop in each corner. It doesn't have to be too pretty, but it does have to seal when you put everything together. Then we take the fancy China wall gaskets. Some of them have holes that line up with these holes, front and back. This one does not, but it's got raised edges to help line everything up. Come on. Also, if I mess this up, I actually have a couple more of these. And I think one set has the little dimples for those holes. There we go. I think that's what we... Then, just because, I'm going to put a tiny bit more goop right there where those gaskets set, because there's little notches right there where the gasket sits. So let's see, this side up rear, so that goes on this side. That sits on top of the gasket. This side up rear. And then it sits in that little notch right there. Then, you know, just because, put a little more goop right there, A little more goop right there. Just because that is a joint, an intersecting piece, an angle, I'm okay with overdoing it a tiny bit there, just to make sure we've got a good seal. Now we will take the intake and we'll set that in place gently. And let's see, go where? There.
Is everything lined up?
Kind of. Is it?
Sitting
On the valve cover?
yeah.
Kind of is on this side too. So let's see. So now it's under, and now it's under. So let's see. Let me show you what we're doing. So if we put it in, so that side's under the valve cover, this side is just a hair sitting on top of the valve cover, which gives us this ginormous gap right where you can't see, right here. So we might have to get a little creative and tweak on these valve covers just a bit, just so this sits. We could now, doing this, we run the risk of creating a problem, trying to fix a problem. I'm just trying to bend down a tiny little lip on these valve covers. What I don't want to do is bend them so they warp funny and then they leak, because that wouldn't be fun.
Smacking the gas.
Or smack the gasket, and now we've created a leak. So I dimpled that down just a tiny bit to give us some clearance. I hope everybody can see and my arm's not in the way. That'd be fun. All right, let's try that again.
The holes aren't lining up.
I wonder if that pushed it down. Let's see. Whoa.
Holes are not lining up.
Okay.
I'd say it's worse now.
I'd say it's worse now. Here's what we should do. So, instead of jerry-rigging it like I was trying to do, I think we will take the valve covers off real quick, put the intake on, and then put the valve covers on.
Are these holes are-
Yeah, those ones are still lined up.
Yes, I need to see
Yeah, since I bent that down, it's now pushing against that gasket. So we'll probably have to get valve cover gaskets now too. So let's pull those off real quick and then put the intake on. Fun development. The intake we had. And wait, why do we have the new intake? Well, here's what happened. As we were trying to get this on, we discovered these holes right here. They don't go in this way, they go in this way. That causes them to not line up. This intake is for newer heads, 86 to 95 heads that have the 4 bolts in the center of the valve cover. And they have the throttle body, the TPS, instead of a carburetor. Being that this is the old one, all of the bolts go in the exact same way. The newer ones go in at the angle, so they don't line up. So it didn't line up. Potentially could have been why the valve covers didn't have the correct clearance. So we went and got this. Ugh. Our free intake that we were throwing on is now turned into a $200 intake that we're replacing to make it better. This one has the flat here, flat here, so the bolts all go straight in. Another difference that I noticed on the new versus the old, again, the old one we were going to use had that, and we were going to have to build a plate, which our old intake had the thing to cover that, so I didn't think anything of it. I also didn't realize this was different. This is where the distributor comes through. There's a water jacket right here that goes through to this side. The original intake did not have it, and this one does not have it. So that's another difference. The intake the free intake, the number is 2104. And if you Google search that, like I ended up doing after we realized it didn't fit, said, yeah, this is for the 86 to the 95 heads. So we had to do some quick phone calls and searching around on a Sunday to see who had this in stock. We had at the O'Reilly's, saved us again, they had one. So we had to run into the big city because ours in town didn't have one. But this is the 2701 model. What we are going to have to do is, we are not running an Edelbrock carburetor. We're running the aftermarket brand new Quadrajet that we're going to put on there. So we're going to have to find an adapter plate to put that carburetor on this intake. Eventually, probably we'll end up getting an Edelbrock to put on there, just because But we cleaned these up, got them all ready and prepared, so now we are ready to go back together again. Let me throw this out of the way, and we will get that set in there. So we'll let you guys watch that and, you know, see how well it goes this time. Sun is shining on my side of the car, so my fender is like 700 degrees. Look at that. It looks like all those holes line up perfect. How many did you get?
4.
2, 4, 6. Crazy how when you have the right part, it lines up like it's supposed to. And the holes we had trouble with were these ones lined up and these ones lined up, but these two did not. Because on the other one, the holes went in this way versus this way. And, oh, let's see. Put this fancy big head bolt in the center. And would you look at that? Would you just look at it? Would you just look at that? Fits.
You're weird.
You're weird. Haven't you ever seen a video? That's what he says. Would you just look at it? Would you just look at that? Alright, so we will get those zipped down and torqued and keep on keeping on. So I bet this one is a little bit different, that those valve covers now would clear, so I got to fix that one that I bent up a little bit. Get some new valve cover gaskets, because these ones were orange gooped into place and we're probably going to leak anyway. Battery's almost dead. So the instructions say 25 foot-pounds. Nope, wrong way. And these ones you do in a back and forth star type pattern. Click, click, click. Put it on that one.
That one you probably don't need.
Yeah, probably don't need that.
No,
Wobbly.
just the inside one.
If you want to do that one. I feel it click.
A little bit.
That's it. Yep. break my clicker?
Clicker's not working anymore.
Well, how fun is that? There we go. And then okay, now we'll go over and do them one more time. Since we tighten these ones down, they click, and then we tighten these ones down and they click more. These ones kind of loosen up a little bit, or they don't loosen up, but it gets sucked down more, so it's more even this way. Let's see, did we do that one?
Yeah.
So this one. All right. On to the next one now. With using the Edelbrock intake and a stock Quadrajet carburetor, we had to put an adapter plate on here. The mounting holes are slightly different, so we got that cleaned up and put on. We're going to throw the distributor in now, just so the carburetor's not in the way. Just gives us a little more room to get in there and work. So, yeah, let's go ahead and, oh, I get to?
Yeah, you said when you were taking it out, you said pay attention to something.
Oh.
And then we started like hitting it with a hammer.
Yeah, we were beating on it and jerking on it, and then it just came out. So, the old one I marked, I put 2 marks on it. This was where the #1 spark plug is. This is where it was facing with it set at top dead center. When it comes out, zoop, it spins that way. So it was roughly there. So I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to see how close we are to lined up. My oil pump is aimed at actually right there. I wonder, does that line up with that? That actually does. So stick that in there. Ow, ow.
Pretty much right there.
Ow, ow. So, And the old one, when we pulled it out, I don't know if you guys noticed, but this was pretty much pointed forward. I think we're pretty spot on right there. So, sitting in there.
The garage?
Yeah. So I'm just going to flop this up here real quick just to see. And turn, turn, turn. So yeah, cylinder number 1 lines up with that. And yeah, that's where she should be. So we will lightly lock that down, and then when it comes time to start, we'll loosen it up a tiny bit. And that. Yeah. I think 5/8. I don't know. 9/16. Found this fancy chrome distributor hold down, so we can go faster with all these new parts. And now there's a bunch of chrome parts on it too, or a new chrome part. Go fast parts. Okay, so that's there. Okay, so that's pretty snug. That's not moving. That's not moving. So yeah, pretty much lined up where it was. So now we'll get the yeah. We probably should get new valve cover gaskets and put the valve covers back on before we try to run spark plug wires. So let's do that. Alright, got the distributor in, intake's in, wires are in, hood hinge is in the way. Say hi to YouTube.
Hi YouTube.
Now we got the carb. We'll get that thrown on and then hook up a few little things and maybe we can get to start it. There we go. And we need this. I rebuilt this while you were gone.
Rebuilt it?
Yeah. Look, it's
What
brand
even
new.
was it?
It goes right here.
Where'd I put all the zip ties at?
We're going to have to use this gasket, I think, and hope for the best.
Why not this one?
Because it won't go all the way through that. Man, that one's barely going to grab too. These bolts aren't even long enough. Not long enough. Oh good. Fixed one problem and now we have a new one. I don't know. Probably.
What? I want to keep it. That's why I hit it deep.
All right. So the bolts are just not quite long enough to reach into the nut that's on the bottom side. So we're going to have to go just a hair longer on all of these bolts. Woo! Quality starter.
Oh! Cramped in. Hey, you want to give me that milk crate or something? So I can sit on it?
Okay. Pour gas on everything, it'll be fine. Okay. Keep going. Pump on it.
Okay, watch this. Reinforce my interior.
What?
Something on the carburetor that plugged that shit up you plugged?
I don't think so. Okay, crank on it. Okay. I wonder. Curious if I plug these in wrong. Is the key still on?
Probably. Yeah.
Oh, turn it on.
What?
That's the right one. What's your mom cleaning out there?
You just vacuum in everything.
Hmm. The dog room.
Yeah. She's throwing stuff away from me, man.
probably.
What did that metal part plug into?
What metal part?
Or was that just emissions?
This?
Yeah.
To the air cleaner. Let's see, I got an idea.
What did that one black plug thing plug into?
What black plug thing?
On the
That?
Yeah.
Coolant. Okay, we got a little more juice. Okay, try her again. All right, been a minute. Work and school started, so we kind of been trying to do a little bit here and a little bit there, and it's been raining on us and all that fun stuff. So the other day, tried to start it, and it wouldn't start. So I figured the plug over here, where the battery power plugs in, the tab was bent. So it was plugged in, but it wasn't making contact. So I pulled that out, cleaned that up, bent that back, put it all back together. And then when I did that, this plug right here, oh, the sun's just right. This plug right here, all the wires pulled out of that. So I put them back together as my best guess, and it didn't work. So I had the yellow and the red switched. So I switched those, and ta-da, she started. Since then, we got the radiator installed. Everything's filled up. The fans are wired up. That was super easy, way easier than I anticipated. There's Jeffrey's head. Mounted the relay down there out of sight, and red is fused. It goes to the battery. The one that was confusing was the black wire. Had a little terminal right here, a round bolt terminal that looked like a ground. That was not at all a ground. That actually comes to the temperature sensor. So that was on there, so you can add a breaker relay and a switch and run it manually from inside. We're not going to do that, so I just clipped it and soldered it together. The white wire feeds through the wire loom. We hit it and it goes inside, plugs into the fuse box to a keyed power source, and blue goes to the fans. I split the blue off so it goes one to each, and then the grounds, they just go ground to the body. So I made a little tiny harness that plugs in and goes to a ground, and then put a self-tapper in there. Topped off the coolant. We had to pull this back out because it was slightly leaking, and put a little pipe thread stuff on there. So far so good. We had it up to operating temperature last night, and the fans kicked on, and they blow nice. So today,
Should we start it?
sure,
With the neighbors?
show the people that it actually starts.
Hope the starter doesn't want to...
Dear headphone users, turn the volume down. As soon as he can get the door open, turn the volume down.
Can I...
We need to put door pins in too. The doors are saggy, so they're really hard to open. Okay. The starter's been giving us some trouble, so that might act up. Oh. Okay. Where's my hammer? Let me set you guys right here. Okay. Didn't have electric choke, so there's no choke hooked up. Oh, maybe it's finally out of gas. We've been running it on and off, and we've never put gas in it. The tank sounds super empty. The exhaust is so loud. The header's rusting out. So she's pretty loud. I do think I got the timing off one tooth when I put the distributor back in. So when I hit it with the timing light, the torque is way off from where the hash marks are. So I just kind of timed it by ear. Did the whole turn it till it runs a little rough, turn it till it runs a little rough, and then just meet it in the middle. I hooked up a vacuum gauge, and right in the middle is right about where it's got its best vacuum on the carburetor. So we're right now we've got some new blinker and headlight vessels that we're putting on, and the tail lights are all busted up, so we got some new tail light lenses. Had to take apart the housings. Tinkered with the lights, got all the lights hooked up so the brake lights work, but the blinkers work, and everything like that. And then these are actually held on by a bunch of screws. They just hold these on to these housings, and I cleaned them up, and then we shot a little bit of gray spray paint in here, silver spray paint in here, just so they light up a little bit better, a little bit more visible. So we'll get those together and get them all put back on, and then show you guys what those look like.